welcome to Gain TV. Today is a conversation in education. Our guest tonight is Mr. Jean Engohang-Ndong, born and raised in Gabon, then moved in France, where he completed his PhD in medical microbiology. In the late 2003, he joined the Institute of Public Health in Newark, in New Jersey, as a research scientist, where he continued to research effort, his research effort with particular interest in improving the treatment of an infectious disease called tuberculosis. In 2007, he accepted the position at Birmingham Young University in Hawaii. In 2010, he joined Kent State University as a tenure assistant professor. In the spring 2002, he was promoted to academic rank of full professor. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome this amazing gentleman, Mr. Dr. Ndong. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you, my brother Malik Linzonzo, for inviting me on your platform. I want to really extend this word of thanks to you and to your all the people who work with you for allowing me to share some of my experience and my thoughts about closing the gap when it comes to access to education.
Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. Listen, we're both educators here. If there's something I mispronounce or say, don't worry. You just straight up, correct me, because we're here to inform and just to let people know about what you do and how can you better serve the community. You're here today, just like I said, we are kind of give the background of who you are as a profession. But you here today as a CEO, as the founder of Ekaza-Bridging the Gap. So during this conversation, we're gonna have to talk about when this institution was created, where you are located, your mission statement, your vision, and also we're gonna be talking about early exposure to STEMs, meaning the science, technology, and engineering, mathematics, and medicine. And also, we're going to be touching base on your lifetime silver member of the NAACP. So those are kind of line that we're going to be following this during this conversation. So again, I want to thank you for your time. I know you're a busy man, you're a professor, and you're also a businessman. So that is it's a lot for one man. So first of all, you saw some of the question I already like. We're gonna, talking a little bit about, Ekaza. Tell us a little bit how this idea came about and how come you go from teaching at the university level and now you are thinking about closing the gap from pre-K to 12.
Thank you for the question. Before I discuss Ekaza, I would like to tell you a little bit about my background, and that background is actually going to explain a good bunch about the reasons why I decided to develop Ekaza-Bridging the Gap. Now, I've been in the academic world for about 15 years now. And over those 15 years, I've taught students from a wide range of backgrounds. Whether you are thinking about ethnic background, cultural background, educational background. What I mean by educational background, it's basically when it comes to historical education in the family. We know that based on the educational background in your family, you may or may not struggle with navigating higher education. With that said, of my time spent in the classroom, I've seen a wide range of students and noticed that a lot of our students actually fail to complete their degree in a timely manner, or um, even stay in college altogether, because they don't always have the proper support. What I mean by the proper support, it's that we don't always meet our students where they are. So several years into teaching, I started really providing one-on-one support to my students. But as my time was going, I thought to myself, well, considering my job description as instructor, which is basically that my major responsibility is to provide some information about biology. Say, for instance, a student who is taking a course of anatomy and physiology with me. Now, Kent State is paying me to actually teach that course in anatomy and physiology. However, when looking at the diversity of my students, I realized that many of my students actually need more than just hearing about biology from me, because I know and I see how they are struggling. So I started doing that to actually provide some assistance to my students. And as I was talking with my colleagues, I noticed that, well, it was an overall observation that many of our students are struggling, dropping out of college, thinking that college is not for them because the experience is just challenging. Then I thought to myself, well, we need to do something. I need to do something. So uh, thinking about that little by little, as I started providing some assistance to my students, and considering the fact that within the educational system and based on our job descriptions, there are things we can do, there are things we cannot do. At least, how much of it can we do? For instance, in terms of advising, in terms of mentoring, how much mentoring can I do as instructor, right? So I had to basically work extra hours to provide that assistance to my students. So rather than just serving only the students who were taking my classes, I decided that I want to reach out to students beyond those who are taking my my classes. So I decided to develop Ekaza-Bridging the Gap.
Absolutely. What a wonderful, wonderful explanation about what you're doing, and thank you so much for this service to the community. But you know, as you yourself said, you are a professor at the university level. So when it comes to closing the gap, me and myself, I was last year I was coordinating some effort with this kind of program as well. But we were talking about the little one from K to 12.
Yes.
So, you just, you observe the problem and you say, you know what, when they get to the university level, it's too late. Let me just go back and try to prepare them from the beginning so that when they get to the university level, they're all up running. That is a genius way, because we've been trying to working with the education system for a long time, trying to close the gap. And in the entire nation, everywhere in America, is especially when you serve underprivileged communities, it's been a serious problem. And I wanna commend you again for what you do. That's very courageous for somebody who just go from your level, for the university level, to come down to where it all began with the kids.
Yes.
So Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It has to be supported, and thank you again for that, because for a long time this is an ongoing conversation, closing the gap in our schools. Now, it looks like there's a focus. You're not just trying to work in any fields. You stay in. You're a scientist to start with, because
Sure.
I would in yours. Doc, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I lost you for a moment.
Yeah, that's so sorry. I think I've been having some technical difficulties on my end, but yeah, well, I was just talking about the fact that you have found a genius way to tackle this problem. Because you can see yourself when they get there. There's some gap that need to be closed, and you find a way to go back, where it all begins, so that you can solve the problem from the beginning. Now, I also say that in the meantime, you specifically focus on biology and math. Can you tell us a little bit what's the program, this enrichment program, is composed of? What do you
Sure.
teach the kids?
Sure, absolutely. So let me explain a little bit before I dive into biology, science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine. Let me backtrack a little bit. So I was saying that I was uh, I developed Ekaza to help students at a broader level who needed educational support, assistance. However, when I initiated Ekaza, my first thought was to actually close the gap in access to higher education, persistence, and degree attainment. I worked on persistence because I know a lot of undergrad students and I know a lot of grad students. So I've been interacting with students on a daily basis to help them with persistence and degree attainment. In terms of access to higher education, I started working with junior and senior high school students to actually help them with writing their essay and filling out their FAFSA. We do know that there is a close relationship between filling out a FAFSA application and committing to go to college. Now, what data show is that most students who are filling out their FAFSA application are very likely to go to college, persist, and attain a degree. So I started doing that. Then I realized that while I'm working with junior and senior high school students, by the time students reach to the year junior or senior high school, they are almost settled as to are they considering higher education or not? Are they considering college or not? Then I thought to myself, well, here is the challenge that we have in our community. A lot of the minority, low income, and first generation students are not going to college or persisting or attaining their degree in a timely manner. Then I thought to myself, what can I do to actually really reach that goal of mine, which is actually a goal to lift up our community altogether? So I thought to myself that I need to start um, impacting students when they are still young. But then the question comes as to how do I engage them? How do I engage a middle schooler? How do I engage a student in elementary school, knowing that really my background is not in elementary education or middle school education or even high school education, right? So I had to find a gateway to foster access to higher education. And I have to say that while doing that, my goal is to commit our students to be part of those who are going to solve the problems that are inherent to our community, to our society. So naturally, I thought about my threat, which is being a scientist. So I thought to myself, we do see a major gap in participation for minority, low income, and first generation when it comes to science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine. Let's take, for instance, the field of medicine. Now, if numbers have not changed much, so you consider the US population, the US population is made up of about 13% of Black people. Now, out of this 13% of Black people, when you look at the number of physicians in terms of percentage, I can say without exaggerating that less than 10% of physicians across the United States are Black. What does that mean? This means that, well, chance that a Black person is going to see a Black physician is low. Not to say that actually it's a major issue of its own. What the issue is actually it's in terms of representation, right? And we know that representation in a community is very important. Diversity in a community is very important. So to foster access to higher education and obtaining a degree, basically, I decided to actually develop a STEM academic enrichment program. And that STEM academic enrichment program is designed to help students from elementary school to high school, so grade 1 through 12, to be exposed to science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine in a meaningful manner when they are still young. Our goal when we expose elementary school students is to groom them to go in high school with the desire and at least the exposure to the disciplines where they are underrepresented, where diversity is not very present, right? And that doing so is going to give at least an avenue, a chance to minority, low income, and first generation to consider these disciplines. For instance, how many of you see veterinarians? If you have a pet, a cat, a dog, you necessarily see a veterinarian, right? But how many veterinarians are from a minority background? So that lack of representation in the community is a problem. So we want to really open avenues for underrepresented, underserved population of students to actually be exposed in a meaningful manner while being intentional as you get exposed to science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine. Our expectation is for you to think about how you could contribute to lifting up our community, being the next physician, being the next engineer, being the next veterinarian. Because let's face it, we are in a community where we have a lot of pets. So we always going to need veterinarians, right?
Right.
So if the kid who grew up in the town is the veterinarian, wouldn't that be excellent for the people who live in that community? So that is
Absolutely.
my dream.
Absolutely. Listen, like I told you, I don't know if you have some connection with some other enrichment program. I know good friend of mine, Dr. Butler, here in the DMV area. We have the same kind of program, math and science, and she actually one of the pioneer in that area as well. We need more people. More people, as a matter of fact, we have no more people like yourself, and also to be able to connect with other people that are doing the same thing, so we can create a network of educators that understand, that our children are the future, and they have to see themselves in those areas, because it's easier for somebody to say, I'm going to play basketball, because, many people have done it. You
Yeah,
see the Jordans of this world, you see the Magic Johnson. It's easier for you to say, hey, you know what, I can play basketball.
absolutely.
But to be a vet, that's is something that most kids don't even think about.
Absolutely.
And you see, a lot of pets, around our community, just like you said. Now, I want quickly to ask you about how, first of all, the kind of response from the kids. Do you or do they enjoy being scientists? What kind of a response do you? I was talking about the response from the children, from
Sure.
our
Sure.
young.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, first and foremost, let me say that the students who participate in our program, not all of them know what they want to do, which is fine, which is okay. I didn't know what I want to do for a long time, right? But exposure made it
Yeah.
happen for me. For instance, how did I become a microbiologist? I became a microbiologist because I visited a biotechnology lab. And at that biotechnology lab that I visited, one of the researcher were telling us that while they are able um, to perform and produce um, little banana plants, however, the yield of the number of banana plants that became adult was very low. And why? Because this banana plant got infected when they were still so small. So, and he was sharing with us that, well, the major issue that we are having is that we don't have a good microbiologist to allow us to fight these issues that we have. So then and there is when I thought to myself, maybe I can become the next microbiologist to tackle this very specific issue, right? So that's how I developed some interest in microbiology. Now, to go back to your original question, some students are strongly interested, and some students are just discovering and try to see where they are with that. Those who are interested obviously get more involved, get more inquisitive, and actually participate in in some activities in the ways that other students don't. So we have overall a good response. We have overall a good response because most of the time students who come to our facility are brought by their parents. Obviously, students cannot come on their own, right? They are brought by their parents, so they are somehow, they have somehow a level of support from their parents. So, uh, so there is a good response overall.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, usually it's just a matter of time. If you're doing the right thing, it's just a matter of time. People figure out, and the kids especially, they get involved very quickly, and and before you know it, everybody join in, and that brings me to another question of the capacity, because it's, as much as you want to do it, it is very very difficult to have an enrichment program where you have the visionary, you think about all of this good stuff. So how you go about dividing yourself, in terms of, do you train people on the spot, or do you have a group or a bunch of people that you work with to help you with with this endeavor?
I have to say that the beginning is definitely difficult, as any endeavor at the beginning is very difficult. So, needless to say that at this point in time, I'm wearing many hats. However, I do have collaborators, and you can see in the video one of my collaborators, um, and uh, I work with teachers who are already state certified. And the reason why I work with instructors who are already state certified, it's because we want to make sure that kids evolve in a safe environment, where we are sure that the background of individuals are checked, and that our kids are not just going to be exposed to about anyone who can come and do things that do not make sense, right? So I do interact with elementary school teachers, middle school teachers, and high school teachers. So I do have some support. I don't work by myself. I do have some support with other, some instructors, including some of them are my former students who are now high school teachers in the science area, and who actually come and chip in to provide that support that is much needed.
That is wonderful. Here, for example, and you probably can apply this to the state where you are. And part of the question was, you're probably gonna give us an answer following with this question. To tell us your location where you are exactly. I put some of the information on the screen. But last year when I was a coordinator for a similar enrichment program, the program would go into schools. Actually, we were going to school, and then we collaborate with school. But it seems to me that you were talking about your own. Do they come to your own facility? Because I'm trying to understand how
Yes.
complex that can be.
Yes, absolutely. We do have a facility. First of all, we are in the great state of Ohio.
Okay.
We are in the great state of Ohio, and specifically, we are in Northeast Ohio in a city called Canton. Canton, for those out there, is the city where the Hall of Fame, the Football Hall of Fame, is located. This is where American professional football was born. This is, wow, it's a great place. So we are right located downtown, 3-minute walking distance from the Centennial of the Hall of Fame, the Football Hall of Fame. So we are right 3 minutes up the street from the Centennial. We have a facility of about 1,600 square foot. And out of those 1,600 square foot, we have about 720 foot room that is devoted to laboratory, where students can come and have some hands-on activity with some models. And let me show you some examples. So we do have here a DNA model. So kids can actually not just hear about DNA, but build models of DNA, so they can have a good idea of that. Now, there are many other models that I have. If you give me some chance, I can grab some more models to show.
Absolutely. While we're going to take a quick break, I believe you're going to have a chance to maybe grab one or two
Yep.
model to
Absolutely. Absolutely.
to show our future kids.
Yes.
That the good stuff happening in this Ekaza-Bridging the Gap education facility and support.
Absolutely.
You listen, they are one of the best, and this is so unfortunate, but the hope would be that there's such a program. Both of us, Gabonese American. So such a program, I wish in the future can be also extend to the motherland. To Gabon.
Absolutely. And this is
So
this is when the Ekaza closing the gap comes into play. Ekaza in my native tongue means bridge.
okay,
right? It's a
wonderful.
bridge that is meant to close the gap that we see in many aspects and in many places. So obviously we do have a starting point. However, that starting point is not going to be the end point, right?
Absolutely.
So we have a dream, we have aspirations, we have a vision. I have not addressed my vision yet, right?
We're
But
coming to
if
that.
you give me the chance, I'm going to share my vision.
Absolutely. Listen, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we will
Absolutely.
come back with our Dr. Jean Engohang-Ndong.
Engohang-Ndong.
Engohang-Ndong. There we go. I
There
got
we
it.
go. There we go.
Absolutely. So we'll be back in a few.
Sure.
Look, leading can be tough, and leading without support, limited resources, an inexperienced team, all while managing work-life balance is even tougher. This is an exclusive opportunity for you to take full advantage of my years of leadership experience and glean from my mentors and all the work that I've done, the learning, the trials, the error, and the growth. You're joining an ecosystem of believers, leaders, thinkers, and doers who are here to support your dreams, celebrate your wins, and encourage your success.
All right. If you're joining us now, we are talking about Ekaza-Bridging the Gap, education support and services. I'm here with my dear friend and brother, Dr. Jean Engohang-Ndong. Welcome back, my friend. And I know you probably get you probably already got some of the pieces that you can show us.
Sure.
But there's some important questions that we for the in the time that the remaining time that we have. Those important questions that need to be answered. I know those material that you already have tools already have next year. But we want to know a little bit about some of the specific question. You gave us the location already, and can you tell us a little bit before you go back to those samples that you have? Give us your mission and mission statement and your vision.
The mission statement of Ekaza, it's basically to foster access to higher education, persistence, and degree attainment in a timely manner, and also do so by exposing our children to science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine. So that is our mission. What is our vision? Our vision is to create opportunity for the youth, specifically underserved youth, to become independent, be part of a community, contribute in that community, and sustain our economy. So
Absolutely.
That is our vision.
Absolutely. Maybe we can just quickly go back to because I know you wanted to show me some more.
Sure, absolutely.
some more about what the kids, when they come to your facility, to your institution or your program, your enrichment program, what are the kids playing with? What's the real life? It can be simple that represent real life things that they're playing with. You can go ahead and show us some of the more stuff that you have in your enrichment program.
Sure. For instance, many students who are going to a nursing program or medical field are going to use microscopes. So a lot of the students I see in my classrooms, some of them have never used a real microscope, right? So here, for instance, they have the chance when they are still young to actually manipulate a real microscope, college level microscope, so that as they learn to use this tool in their youth and they go to college, they are never going to wonder how to use that tool. What is that tool? What are the different parts? How to maintain it, right? So we actually allow them, give them the chance to actually manipulate tools that they are going to see in college. Other example, a lot of my students I teach are nursing students, right? We do have, for instance, here, we have a torso of a human, right? Where you have different parts, different systems that can be looked into. So for instance, here you have the respiratory system. So some elements come apart and the student can actually look into those elements. Another example, it's the circulatory system. So you have here a normal heart, okay? However, that heart does not always stay healthy all the time. Sometimes we actually have people who undergo a triple bypass surgery. Now, when you explain a 10-year-old kid that grandpa underwent or grandma underwent a triple bypass surgery, what does that mean for that student? So just looking at this model, we can address what a triple bypass surgery is and use that model to actually explain the underlying reasons for that triple bypass surgery. So that allows us to not only dive into eating habits, basically lifestyles that promote this kind of situation. We have things like this, where you can actually see some blood vessels with that are normal, some that start getting clogged, and some that is completely clogged here, right? So we get to discuss actually cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, and other health issues. Not only discuss that with hands-on activities, but also, okay, now that you know this, what are you going to do about it? What would be your contribution? Consider being part of the solution in the community. And this is where triggering their interest to go to college comes into play. So we groom them to actually develop interest in solving real problems in the community.
That's awesome. That is awesome, especially that triggering part. You know, giving their interest in, you know, provoking interest in them so that they can understand better. And you're absolutely right. You know, if you never been exposed to those things, usually it seems to be far away. It seems to be something that is not reachable. So, you know, that's why the value of what you do. We're gonna go to the next question because the time is we're being squeezed by the time.
Sure.
So the next question will be you know, so I think you probably already addressed the exposure to STEM science, and technology, engineering, math, and medicine. So, you know, I don't know if you want to add something into that, because we're going to be jumping. The last question will be about the lifetime silver member of NAACP, because, you know, listen to you, there's no question at all that, you know, there's the part of you that is a human right aspect of you that, you know, want to do this work, because, you know, an educator is somebody who want to solve a problem. So do you want to add something in terms of the math and science, engineering, and the medicine that you just talked?
Considering the time that we don't have, right? I'm going to save time for addressing NAACP and social justice.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. Yeah, but yeah, when reading about you, what I found out was that you are involved not only in the education level, but you also you are involved in the community, understanding the social justice issues. So your involvement with the NAACP. Can you tell us a little bit how you get involved in that chapter? That
Sure,
area of your life.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm a fan of social justice. At my university, I'm member of the American Association of University Professor. I'm very active in my organization to actually be part of those who are going to create a working environment that my colleagues are going to thrive in. So social justice is something that is very dear to me. Now, outside of the university life, I look at my community, and I decided to join NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, which is a very old organization in the United States. Actually, maybe one of the oldest organization that is found in the United States, and that fight for the advancement of underserved population. So as I joined as a lifetime silver member, yeah, as a lifetime silver member, actually I basically started digging into what can I do to lift up those who are historically disenfranchised. So I decided to actually approach the president of my chapter here in Stark County, and we went through a number of things, and he told me about one of the committees in NAACP that actually has been dormant for many, many years. The ACTSO committee. ACTSO stands for Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics. Okay, let me repeat that. Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics. The ACTSO the AXO program of NAACP is over 40 years old. That program was developed because minority students did not have an avenue to express their talents, in spite of the fact that many were very talented, right? So it was developed over 40 years ago, and over 300,000 people went through that program. And that program basically allow students from different disciplines to come and compete in the culinary art, in dance, in drawing, visual art, in science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine. So a lot of different categories that students can come and contribute and compete among themselves, receives scholarships and medals for those who are performing well. Now, our AXO program has been inactive in Stark County for over 10 years. So I was appointed recently to serve as the chair of that program.
Congratulations, Doc.
Can you come again?
I said, congratulations, Doctor.
Thank you, thank you. Needless to say that it is a major challenge to take that program off the ground. So I'm working hard right now to revive that program in our community. Now, as I'm working on that program, another thing stems in my mind in relation to the goals I have with Ekaza, considering the issues around social justice, there is this pipeline that is now well known and well documented that exists. The pipeline from childhood to prison, right? That many of us have heard about, right? From school to prison. The question is, can we change that paradigm to think of a pipeline from elementary school to attainment of a degree, a college degree, that is going to allow students to participate and be active, productive citizens in our community? Now, through Ekaza and my contribution to AXO, one of my goals is to actually develop intentionally that pipeline from elementary school by introducing kids to science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine, middle schools where they are going to learn science with a problem-based approach, and high school where they are going to carry projects with the support of a mentor to help them prepare that project for participating in the AXO program. So I am putting together a pipeline from elementary school to participating in the AXO program, and hopefully cause them, as they become successful in the AXO program, to think about going to college to pursue their education and obtain a degree that is going to allow them to be productive members of a community.
Absolutely. That already sounds like a conclusion, although I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to conclude this wonderful, wonderful conversation. It is amazing. I'm telling you, talking about the pipeline from school to prison. Now it's from school to professional, or for school, for elementary to college degrees. This is a conversation that needs to be continued. And you also mentioned the mentorship program, and
Sure.
I know there's other program out there, urban program out there that really need to be connected. You have to be connected. We're gonna be continuing to work together on this because education is our future. And nobody
Sure.
can tell you, especially a country like America, who cannot sustain this country if we're not taking education seriously. That's when you look, for example, the data when it comes to math and science, it's alarming, because as a data manager, I can tell you America is in the 20s. Last time I checked was maybe number 24 or 26. And that is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And so we are educator. We have to push this as much as we can, and then making sure that we have this connection of people, the network of people like yourself. There's many other out there. Please, we're gonna leave information after this conversation. There will be information to reach out to Dr. Jean to make sure that we continue to work in this changing the narrative. Making this no longer pipeline to the prison, but a pipeline that will lead the kid to college and to degrees, meaningful life. I'm gonna give you the last words, kind of wrap it up a little bit. I know it's a lot of information you put out there today, but kind of synthesize all of this and give us a word that people who are watching this program can take with them tonight.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, and I would like to conclude this conversation with really reminding us that it is our responsibility to actually get ourselves out of the situation we are in terms of community. For that, we have to be intentional. We have to take action and cause the needle to move in the direction that lift our community up. And let not uh, be confused. Without intention, without action, and without a real involvement of each of us, there is going to be no better future. We have to take action, and it's our responsibility to do that, to do just that, right? Getting involved and helping those of us who struggle. Because if we don't help our underserved population, at the end of the day, we are not helping ourselves, because we are going to see these gaps becoming wider and wider. Now, I would like to finish with thanking you, Malik, for inviting me on your platform and your initiative to actually get this conversation off the ground and keep this conversation alive. I I'm really highly appreciative of all the work you are doing, all the work you network is doing, right? Supporting businesses across the United States and across the globe, right? I really, really appreciate all this wonderful job. And I hope that we can work together and cause our community to move in the direction we want to see it moving, with a particular emphasis on lifting our underserved student population.
Absolutely. Listen, what a wonderful conclusion, my friend, my brother. Listen, we all always about excellence, working hard, lifting communities and teaching.
Sure.
That's all we do all day. It was another good conversation. The pleasure is mine, and you know this is not the last time we're gonna invite you back on this program, probably with somebody else who's doing the same thing. I've like I told you, a good friend of mine, Dr. Butler, is deep into this, and I'm so glad we have a new member that joined this fight.
Sure.
It's literally the real fight. It is the fight for our future, not whatever the politician. Although I'm a politician myself, but you got to understand that in order for us to create quality people
Sure.
for the next generation, we gotta have to be serious with education.
Absolutely.
Dr. Jean Engohang-Ndong, listen, my brother, it was a pleasure. And the amount of information you released today in just 1 hour, I'm going to want to be sorry for some of the technical issues that we have, but I promise you, this is not the last time you'll be here on our program.
Sure.
So thank you again. Say hello to your wife for me and the kids, and we look forward to speak with you another time.
Thank you for allowing me to come on your plateau. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, sir. You take care of yourself now.
Have a good night, and send my regards to your family.
Absolutely. All right. So that gets to we get to the point. This is the last of our program. I mean, the last points. You heard the doctor. Somebody who's been serious since day one. And when it comes to education, when it comes to the future of our children, our own future, because they're the children are the extension of ourselves. So we have to be serious about this, intentional, he said, about this. So I think everything has been said. All I can say to you is thank you so much for watching. Please support this man. Information about his enrichment program will be below this page, our YouTube page, also the Facebook. You please go and try to be in touch with them and whatever you can contribute to help them move forward. Again, my name is Malik Ndonzo. That was again education, and it's always a pleasure to have you with this show. Talk to me. All right, so look forward to speak with you another time.